make that better. So there we go. How about now? Is this thing on? Are we working? This thing's going? I have to move this stuff because I can't be in the same place as I am when I do it on that other place. Wow, it's going to be way back here. Dang, that's crazy. Anyway, let's try to turn the light off and see how things look. Maybe that looks a little better. Maybe that looks a little better. Moderately better. It'll have to do. It'll have to do. We'll put that over there. How's things going, man? Best way to build a small sump. There's not really an easy way to do that, my friend. That could be pretty difficult, as a matter of fact. But I have done it with a 5-gallon tank before. And basically what I did is I made it so that there was a sump. I guess it's vertical. Oh, wait, I can flip it. Boom. No, I can't flip it. Nope, that flips the camera. Hang on. You're using a 10-gallon? That's cool. If I just turn the camera, y'all just bear with me for a second because I've never been live. Orientation is locked. So I guess you have to set that up ahead of time. Let's see. Nope, share. We got a couple of people in here and I'm fiddling with this because I've never been live on YouTube on mobile. I've always gone live on my PC. So I don't have all my controls and stuff that I need to have. But you know what? Let's just go with it. Let's just do the vertical live. I will figure out the horizontal live next time. No, I don't think orientation is locked on my phone. I think once you start the live, orientation is locked. I have very few options to change anything within the live stream right now. And there's like a good 30-second delay on YouTube lives. So it takes a minute for things to happen. But hopefully we can get some participation going in here. Hopefully I can teach you guys a little bit about saltwater aquaria. This type of live scenario, because of the delay, is a little bit different. So I'm probably just going to pick some topics and talk about them. If you have some questions, I'll try to answer them and stuff like that. But I really do wish I could figure out the orientation problem. But I think that's something that you have to do before you get started, because like I don't even have any settings options. I told everybody in the group that I was going to be over here doing this, but let's see what that button does. Highlight to save your channel. What? Well, that was a highlight. So like you can clip things from YouTube now. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I literally have pretty much no options for how to do this. So we're just going to go with it like this. We got 18 people in here. Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. Mike, I see you down there. Super cool that you guys are here. So one of the main things that just happened to me actually is I overflowed my ATO reservoir. So I was answering questions and stuff like that, talking to you guys, and just let that keep running. So take that from me as a lesson. Always set an alarm when you turn on your RODI unit, you start filling up your ATO. You should make a couple of test runs on that and get an average time frame for how long it takes to fill it up from halfway and from 3/4 and stuff like that. So that way you know where to set your phone to. It is pressure dependent on the RODI. So if your pressure changes in your pipes coming into your house or whatever, then you may end up with a longer time or less time. It's pretty warm in here. I'm going to go turn on the AC, get a little air flowage going through here. Oh yeah, we had it all the way up to 75. That's a little high for my personal comfort. So yeah, anyway, that was a fun time. Had water all over the living room. Float valves fail. I've had those before and they fail, and usually they fail in spectacular fashion in the on position and do the exact same thing that they are meant to prevent from doing. Unfortunately, you were so silly. The cat's just like upside down underneath my tripod. But I wonder I was just sitting here wondering, I have my tablet here. I'm wondering if I could change things on my tablet. But anyway, I'm not going to worry about it. We'll rock it like this for this time, and then we'll see what happens, you know, in the future. Or if you guys want me to try to figure it out right quick, let me know, and I'll close the live and figure out the horizontal thing and then come back to it, because some people prefer it that way. Just let me know. But anyway, what I want to do with my RODI unit, that wall right there is a shared wall with a bathroom. There's a bathroom directly on the other side of that wall behind the aquarium. And I want to put my RODI unit in the bathroom in a cabinet above the toilet where it's easily accessible. It'll literally be on the wall, on the other side of the wall, in about this area, like right here, right behind the tank, like right over here in the corner. You couldn't see me because I was off the screen, but that's okay. It'll be kind of like right there behind the tank on the wall on the other side. And then I can go down the wall in the bottom, which would put me coming out right behind the aquarium, and boop, over into the tank. And Hydros has a float valve, or a level sensor controlled solenoid valve that I can connect to the Hydros system. So when my ATO kicks on, the pump will fill up the ATO. There'll be another sensor in the ATO container itself. And when that water level drops down, it'll open the solenoid valve. RODI water will go into the ATO, and I never have to top the tank off again. The ATO will always remain full, and I can downsize the size of my automatic top-off container and buy some more room back into my sump. So yeah, that's a pretty cool thing that's probably going to be happening. We got 27 people in here. If you guys wouldn't mind smashing the like button, and if you're here and you don't know me, my name's Logan. I run Reef Rookies. I teach people how to do saltwater aquaria. This is probably backwards for you. Sorry about that. I'm going to have to print a shirt the other way around so it's the right way, because if not, I have to mirror my screen, and then when I point left, it goes right. Anyway, wow, we had 27, 10 left. That's crazy when I just started talking about that. Anyway, I teach people saltwater aquaria, so if y'all have any questions, or if you want to know anything about it, or if you're curious about anything with saltwater aquariums, drop a comment. I'll get to it as soon as YouTube lets it come through. It does take a while sometimes. There's a bit of a delay. So, oh, it's correct for you. Hey, that's freaking cool. That's very nice that they do that. Crazy cat. But yeah, so anyway, RODI is going to go on an automatic system. And I really would like, in the future, I would like to create completely automated water changes. That would be super cool. All right, cool. Good deal on the shirts being correct. But yeah, I would like to do complete automated water changes. And my 3D printer is going to come in very handy with that. I'm actually getting 2 of those. They will be hopefully next week. Y'all don't even know the half of it. Any of y'all who are like normally following me, you know me and stuff. I had a friend change my oil on my truck the other day. And Mike will talk about that in a second. I had a friend change my oil on my truck the other day. While he was under there, he was like, "Hey dude, your lower control arm's cracked." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah." So I take a look. Lower control arm is indeed cracked. So I call around, I get a price, I go to the shop, it's gonna be like $500. And the guy's like, "We can get it done today." So I'm like, cool, take the truck to him. And I'm telling them, change the control arm, balance the wheels and tires, because I need that to be done. So they get the control arm changed. They go to balance the wheels and tires. First one balances great. 3 of them will not balance, so they start looking at them a little more. All 3 of them have separated belts in the tires. Tires are no good. Cannot be balanced. I understand that because I'm a car guy. You know, I wasn't mad at them or nothing, but like, I wasn't ready to spend $1,000 on tires today. So yeah, not only was my control arm cracked, but I needed 3 tires as well. And while my buddy was doing the oil change on the truck, he also noticed an oil leak. So it's been a $2,000 week for me. So It's great. It's awesome. It's amazing. YouTube should monetize my channel immediately so that I can start making money from this. Anyway, back on topic. 25 people in here. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Oil changes always turn into more. Oh, Michael asked, how would you build automated water changes? Right. So the idea behind a water change is you're going to take some of the water out of the aquarium, a certain amount, we'll call it 20 gallons, and you're going to put in 20 gallons of brand new, fresh, clean salt water, right? You have to make that salt water ahead of time. So that is like stage one of the automated water change process problem. Making the salt water is the hardest part. That's the most manual part of it, because you have to have a predetermined amount of water. You have to add salt and manually check for the salinity to be correct and things like this. After that, it gets a little easier. If you have your pre-mixed salt water and you can set up a container, hey, from Germany, I'll get back to you here in just a minute. Let's finish talking about these automated water changes. If you have a container and you have it set up near the tank and it has the salt water that you've mixed into it, you can use automation like my computer control system that I have on the aquarium and some pumps and things to drain a certain predetermined amount of water out of the tank and into a drain. And then you can kick that system into a different mode and it will add a certain amount of water back to the tank. Automated mixing of the salt water is the hard part. However, the same company that makes the automation that I have. Ooh, Joey, that's a great question. We're going to get into that here in just a minute. Just stand by with me and we're going to get there. Keeping in mind there's a delay on everything that I'm seeing and saying on YouTube. It's pre-programmed into the stream because I'm not monetized yet and all that, but we're going to get there. So anyway, long story short, Hydros makes a salinity checker where I can check the salinity of a solution automatically with my Hydros automation system. So I'm going to use my 3D printer and design some sort of a unit that will screw onto the bottom of some sort of a vibrating funnel where I can put the salt and it'll screw, and it'll bring salt into a container, a predetermined measured amount, stuff like that. It's going to get really technical. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to love it. Anyway, so let's get going with the comments here. We got a few coming in through now. MT says, if you feed one head of the colony, for example, Micromucid, do you feed the whole colony or only one head? So it's a little of both, really. It's a shared organism. They do connect deep down within the skeleton, right? So it's a little of both. I like to try to make sure I get a little bit on every head, but I also generally don't spot feed my tank. Usually what I do when I feed my tank is a broadcast type of feeding sort of situation in the tank. I'll get everything mixed up and I'll pour it in wherever the flow is on whichever end the flow is coming from at that moment and just let it wash the entire tank with whatever I have going on. I spot feed for fun just to see what's going on with my corals and stuff like that. But, and I know some are, they're more susceptible to spot feeding than other ones, Duncans and stuff. You really should try to get a little meaty bit on each head. But in general, typically speaking, if one head gets a bunch of food, then it'll end up being shared with all of them. But do try to get a little bit of food to each head. So that's what I would say about that. Joey says, how should I start a cycle on my new tank without fish? This is a great question, Joey. I'm going to go back and turn this into a video all on its own, or maybe a short or something like that. But basically, if you're not starting a cycle with fish, it's called a fish-less nitrogen cycle for obvious reasons. You have to introduce ammonia to the tank, and there's a couple of different ways that you can do that. My preferred method of doing that is with Dr. Tim's ammonium chloride, which looks just like this. This is enough to do like a 1,000-gallon tank. You don't need this much ammonium chloride. I dose ammonia into my tank every now and then to bump up the nitrates and phosphates, but right now, tank's looking good. I don't have to do that, so I've used up most of this. But you would use ammonium chloride, and you would bring the concentration of ammonia in the tank up to 2 parts per million. This is wet because I overflowed my ATO. So yeah, you would bring the concentration of ammonia up to 2 parts per million. And once you've done that, then you would add some sort of a beneficial bacteria. And there's a whole bunch of them on the market. There, let's see, let's go through a few of them. Fauna Marin has a great one called Probac. I've got some of that right here, as a matter of fact. Stand by, just so you can see what the bottle looks like and everything. As a matter, let me go grab one more right quick too. I've got another one over here. Actually, I've got 3 of them. Let's see. It's this one. Yeah. So this is just for example, you know, this is Fauna Marin Probac. You can use this, and this is basically just nitrifying bacteria in a bottle. That's all it is. Here is another one, Microbe Lift Night Out 2. This is a very, very good option. I haven't used this one yet. I'm sure it's going to be great, but I'm waiting kind of for a specific scenario where I can set up a new tank and try this one. This one is absolutely excellent. I cycled my 3-gallon wine glass fish tank in 5 days using this one right here. It works amazing. And this is another one, the Imaginarium line biological booster. I got this because I was setting up a betta fish tank, and it worked perfectly for that as well. So these are what you're looking for, something like this. Microbacter 7 is another great option for doing a fishless nitrogen cycle. So anyway, you'll need biological bacteria of some kind. So you get the ammonia up to 2 parts per million, and you add a predetermined amount, whatever it says on the bottle for the biological bacteria, like a few hours after you get the ammonia to the right level. And after that, things are going to start taking their course, going down their, you know, the road of the nitrogen cycle. And over the next couple of days, you'll see the ammonia start to come down because you're spiking it right off the bat. Boom, it's going to go to 2 parts per million. So there's not going to be a spike. You're setting it there. And then it's going to start to decline slowly over the next couple of days. Then your nitrites will start to come up, and the ammonia will keep going down. The nitrites will keep going up, and then nitrates will start coming up. And then after a while, the ammonia will be 0, the nitrites will go down to 0, and you will have nitrates left in the tank. And at that point, the tank is safe to put animals in. Doing the fishless cycle usually only takes you a couple weeks, you know, maybe 2, maybe 3. It can be done a little faster if you use more bacteria. It's not recommended, but you kind of need that time for maturity, even during the nitrogen cycle. But that's pretty much how it goes and pretty much what happens. So if you have any more questions about that, be sure to join our FB group, which is very difficult for you to find at this point because YouTube. Anyway, it's called Reef Rookies with Logan. You can just search that, jump in there. I can explain anything else that you need to know, and then you'll be good to go. So, Wealthster. Oh, hey, man, I recognize your icon there. Just got my Vortech MP10. What flow pattern would you recommend for a cube tank? Hey, Joey, if you jump into the FB group that I just told you about, make a post, ask about the same thing. I'll kind of lay it out for you, and then I'll drop some links for some products that you can go and get. Hey, Brittany, how's it going? You guys remember, if you're coming over here from the TT platform, this is going to be much slower because YouTube restricts how quickly we can interact and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind, but we're going to rock on here. What pattern would I recommend for an MP10? I don't remember what they call them, but I basically always just kind of go with a random flow for like LPS corals. It'll be strong, and then it'll die down, and then it'll speed up again, but not as much, and then it'll die down some more. It's just a random flow pattern for LPS. I like that one. That's always a good pattern. But I also like a wave pattern. You can put it on a square wave, and it'll get the tank moving like this. Just don't go too crazy because it can slosh water out of the tank. But those are my 2 go-tos, the square wave and the LPS random pattern. So Nathan says, what should you put in your tank outside? Wait a minute. What should you put in your tank outside normal water changes? I'm not sure what you mean. What should you put up, like supplements and stuff? Are you asking? Like, what other things would you do besides a water change to like help things do well? I don't know. Clarify yourself a little bit for me. And let me know what you're asking. Does a blue stripe pipefish and a royal gromma eat Bergia nudibranch? I do not think a pipefish is going to eat a Bergia nudibranch. They're more of a planktivore. They like copepods and little tiny amphipods and microcrustaceans and stuff like that. I don't know about that fish specifically. I've never researched that fish, but I've got my tablet right here. Oops. Let's take a look, shall we? I'll put this over here where you guys can see it with me. No, we'll do it like this. I'll just set it in the front so I can see what I'm doing. Let me look it up. I don't know specifically about that fish, but this is how we learn, right? So blue, the typing on this tablet is wild. Stripe, pipefish. Let's see what it says. Do-do-do, oh, here we go. That is not at all the fish that I thought you were talking about. I'm glad that I looked it up. That looks like a wrasse. That's crazy. It's the smallest of the reef pipe fishes. Round flag-like tail. That is a cool looking fish. I'm glad you showed me this. They're among the most beautiful cygnethids. Okay. It's not telling me what they feed on. Nope. The picture that it has is wrong. This is the picture it's showing for a blue striped pipefish. That's a freaking wrasse, okay? This down here, that is a blue striped pipefish. That's what I thought we were talking about. That's really weird that it has the wrong image there. A blue stripe banded pipefish. Yeah, really, this is what I thought we were talking about. Okay, I wasn't crazy. Everybody else just thought I was. That happens a lot, but it's okay. So let's see. Blue stripe pipefish. I need to add more here. Food. I'm sure it's going to be like copepods and stuff like that. Oh my gosh. Hang on. Blue stripe pipefish food. Thank you. Here we go. Yeah, quite a diverse for a creature. They're not feisty or aggressive. They will not compete for food. Same family as seahorses. It's literally not telling me what they eat. This is so stupid. Let's see. Here we go. They're opportunistic predators eating only copepods. So no, as I thought, the blue striped pipefish is not going to eat a Bergia nudibranch, and I have never seen a royal gromma do so either. There are some wrasses and stuff that'll eat the Bergias, but I don't think either of those fish are going to get it done. Macroalgae Aquariums, what's up, my guy? Happy to have you here. We're just hanging out. It's a much slower stream over here on YouTube, much more chill. You like the burst pattern? I don't know if I've ever actually messed with the burst pattern on an MP10. I like the way it sounds, though. So Nathan asked about adding other things to the tank while you're not doing water changes. And that really depends on what's going on with the tank. If you have something going on with the tank like I do right now, back here in the back, I'm starting to get cyano behind that rock right there due to a lack of flow and probably a little too much light because I cranked them up. And I'm getting green hair algae all in this area and right over there. So I am probably going to run some Flux RX on this tank just to knock that crap out and be done with it. I don't want to fight it. I don't want to deal with it. You know, everything else in the tank is basically perfect. My parameters are spot on where they should be. I just have algae showing up, probably because of these freaking lights that are bad. Hey, by the way, guys, Pop Bloom is sponsoring the channel with a set of 4 RL90 Pop Bloom lights. So that's pretty cool. I did have to pay them a little something for it, but no big deal. No big deal with that. Not too worried about it. But they gave me a big significant discount. I'm going to do a full review on those lights and all of that other stuff. You know, one thing that I do really like about the other platform where I stream oftentimes is I can make the chat big. I can't do that here. I can't make the chat big. So anyway, let's keep on rolling. Yeah, there's stuff you could put in the tank It just depends on what you need to do. If you have low nutrients and things like that, then you could put stuff in to bring the nutrients up, and like neophos and neonitro. I don't like it, but you can do it. I really wouldn't recommend it a whole lot, but you could. You know, I mean, it would be all right to do that. You know. One of the things that I do really like to add to the tank is Red Sea AB Plus. It's a coral food, pretty much. It's carbohydrates and amino acids and long chain fatty acids and things like this that help the corals get everything that they need, especially in a tank like this that's running itself at an ultra low nutrient sort of a situation. So I add that. Other than that, I really just feed the tank. There's really not anything else that you have to add unless you're trying to solve a problem of some kind. You know, I mean, there's other things you can do if you have algae issues or whatever. You can use Phosguard or Phosband to pull some phosphates out, you know, different things like this. But usually nothing needed. Gardener Steve wants to see my favorite corals. I think we can do that. Now, y'all keep in mind that my tank is bad. They are no good. So there's algae in the tank and things like that. I told this thing to flip around. There we go. All right, so right now, currently, my favorite corals in the tank are my rock flower anemones. These guys are just absolutely amazing. I love these things. They're easy to care for. The ones like you see on the top one up there, the purple skirt, how it's ridged like that, that's a male. And you see how the skirt on the female, which is technically it's an anemone, so these are their tentacles. The tentacles are all smooth. That's a female. So I have two males and a female. Eventually, this entire rock is going to be covered with rock flower anemones. And yeah, so those are currently my favorite coral. I'm really digging my torch. In 25 years of reef keeping, this is the first torch that I've ever had. I've just never got them. I just never bought them before. You know, so that's a thing. The fish are all like, where's the food? Yeah, here's some of that algae that I was telling you about that's starting to pop up in the sand. And then over there as well, back here, if I go around this side, you'll see the cyano behind that rock right there. It's aggravating. That's my black widow bubble tip anemone. He's a big guy. I mean, he's pretty big. You know, he's about 1.5 feet across, about 1 foot across the face. Really nice. And I've got other corals here as well. Orange bambams and a couple of acans down there. The tank has been through a lot. So I made a video pretty recently about everything that this tank has been through and why it's not like packed full of corals and stuff like that. So if y'all haven't seen that, it's called the thumbnail. No, I didn't say the whole word. YouTube, don't restrict my stream. So anyway, if you want to go check that on the channel, you can. It's like the 2-year history of everything this tank has been through, and it's been through a lot, dude. It's been up, it's been down, it's been crazy. Amarok says pipefish are in the seahorse family. They eat the same things as seahorses. Yep, that's what I was thinking. But then when I went and saw the weird picture, like it showed me the wrong picture, and I was thinking maybe it would be different a little bit. Nathan says weird saying my actual name. Is it better if I just call you Tap? Does that make you feel better? Tap Tap. That's cool. I can do that. Amarok says the burst pattern at the lowest setting throws a burst out every 5 seconds. Perfect to have a bit of time between the ebb and flow. Yeah, that's going to depend too on the size of the tank. That's what I was calling a square wave. It's, if you look at it, it's nothing, and then it ramps up to 100% for a second, and then it goes down and up and down and up and down like that. That's what I used to run on my tank, my 55 gallon. I had an MP40 on. I ran that same pattern, except I had to stretch the pattern out for a little while because if it went too fast, it wouldn't do anything. So there's a tuning kind of situation that you have to get with the tank so that the wave from the pump is going in, it's going and hitting the other glass, coming back, and right when it hits the pump turns on again and it pushes the water back out again. So it's a tuning sort of frequency thing that you have to get right. But once you do, everything will be like wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. It's pretty nice. I need to get lights, but they are so expensive. Yes, Brittany, that is an unfortunate reality of this hobby. Most of the good stuff is expensive. But if you want some, like budget options, there are some options out there. Brittany, I think I'm 100% sure that you're the Brittany Matthews from the FB group. So if you want some recommendations, drop a post in the FB group. Tell me the size of your tank, if it has a center brace or not, and what your budget is, and I'll find you some lights that'll work really well for you within the budget that you have. It's pretty nice to have those really expensive lights and stuff like that, but it's not needed to grow coral. You can get lights for you could get, there's $100 lights that you could get that'll grow any coral that you want to grow. This lighting is harsh, man. It's rough. I look like crap in this lighting. Maybe it's because the other platform uses filters and this is how I always look. I don't know. How do I identify a bacterial bloom? And what would I do to take care of that problem? So, Jimmy, bacterial blooms usually present as a white cloudiness to the water of the tank. Sometimes it can be green cloudiness, but almost always it's white. Usually green cloudiness is an algae bloom, similar situation, different bug. You know what I mean? The best thing that you can do is turn the lights off. Almost always those organisms that are creating that bacterial bloom situation or that algae bloom situation, they are photosynthetic organisms and they're just getting too much light. There's some other fuel source, some food source in the aquarium that they're eating on and they're consuming, and that extra light that's in there is just like a perfect storm for them to go crazy. If you have trouble with them and cutting the light back, cutting the feeding back, you know, stuff like this doesn't take care of them, then you can put a UV sterilizer on the tank as well. I kind of treat UV as a last resort because it's one more piece of equipment. It's expensive. They fail. You have to maintain the bulbs. I like to keep reefing simple, but on the flip side of that, it is good to prevent problems before they happen rather than dealing with them when they do. So UV is one of those things, like a lot of people, when they're setting their tank up, like it's a non-question. Like I'm running 2 UV sterilizers on this tank. One's going to be for viruses and pathogens, and the other one is going to be for algae and bacteria. And so it's automatic. And you would have to do 2 because the UV sterilizers, the flow and the lighting output of them determines what they target. So you can't target all of those things at the same time. But if you're having a bacterial bloom, it's probably due to too much light and something that's in the tank that particular bacteria is really munching down on. So water change helps. Cut the light back is going to help. Dial back your nutrients a little bit is probably going to help. And then in the end, if it's just too bad, you can pop a UV sterilizer on that thing that's set up for bacteria and you'll be ready to go. MT says, a conch ate cyano in my tank. I think probably what happened is the conch was stirring the sand and that let the cyano loose, or did you really see the conch ingest the cyanobacteria? Because if you did, that would be the first time in history that I've ever heard of a conch actually eating cyano. It's not something that they normally do. There are things that eat cyano. There's 1 or 2 species of copepod that will actively go seek out the cyanobacteria and consume it. Conchs are not usually one of those animals that do that. So if you saw that, I think either he made a mistake and he just munched down on something he didn't quite mean to, or he's a very special conch that you need to have analyzed and propagated for the aquarium industry, because that would be amazing if we could have something that would just eat it like that. Jimmy, oh man, your tank's been cloudy for a month. Okay, well, do all of that stuff that I said earlier. I would cut back the lights, cut back the feeding just a little bit, and then probably just wait it out. It's one of those things, you know, I hate buying a piece of equipment just for one single purpose like that, but sometimes it's required and it's absolutely needed. And hey, by the way, everybody, I know I'm probably way behind in the comments. This doesn't tell me how far back I am like the other platform does, which is a super nice feature, by the way. But I do want to make sure I hit every single comment. So if we run out of time and I don't get to yours, join the FB group, Reef Rookies with Logan, and post your comment in the group, and I'll be sure I answer almost every, well, I don't answer almost every post. It's getting a little too much for me to do that at this point, but I do read every post, and if it's been answered, then I kind of move on. If it hasn't been answered, then I will drop an answer on it. So that's just a thing that you can do if I don't get to your comments here. Gator wants to know, how's my refugium set up? We can go see it. Actually, hang on just a second. Let me grab my tablet because my refugium, my light is not on in my sump down there. So if y'all want to see how Hydros works, it's pretty neat. I go down here to my Hydros app. So this is everything in my aquarium that's currently being run by my Hydros computer controller. And I can go to my Fuge light right there, turn it on, and then you can watch right down here. Boop, the light comes on. So that's pretty neat. I'm going to be hooking up a whole lot more stuff. So we can pop this open down here. Flip the camera. There we go. I'm probably going to have to turn that light down. Hang on. Oh, man. Go up here. Turn it down a little bit. There we go. So this is basically how my sump is set up. It's all a mess right now because I need to clean it. My drain from my main tank comes down into here. There's two 7-inch filter socks right in there. And then it goes into my skimmer section. My skimmer needs to be cleaned very badly. It hurts my back to do it. I have a back injury in case you guys didn't know that. This is also acting as a refugium because it's getting bleed over light from here. I need to make something and hang it right here so that the light doesn't get to this side. But I haven't done it. I've been lazy. Content takes a lot of time to create. But anyway, so this is my skimmer section. That's an Ice Cap K1 200. Absolute beast. This is a CO2 scrubber. So if you don't know what that is, the air intake for the skimmer runs down and into this CO2 scrubber right here. And this filter media here pulls the CO2 out of the air before that air goes into the skimmer. And what that does is it increases the pH of the aquarium and stabilizes the pH of the aquarium. So if you need info about that, I can provide that info to you. This is my refugium, and I just cleaned out the algae the other day, but I am growing some like Caulerpa style leafy macroalgae. Look, there goes some amphipods crawling around right there. That's pretty cool. I am going to be removing this Caulerpa style algae. I just don't like how it's doing. It doesn't want to stay in this chamber. You can see right there, like it's growing through that hole into the chamber with the, whoops, sorry about that, into the chamber with the skimmer. And I don't want it to do that. And it's also coming through the weir over, wow, that's a terrible focus. The red light is messing with the phone. Let me see if I can change that. Nope, that's the best it gets. Anyway, it's coming through into this side, and it's even getting on this wall over here. This stuff is just too prolific. So I'm going to take it out, and I'm going to go back to Chaeto. That's always worked for me. I shouldn't have changed it, but at the time and the reason that I changed it, oh, you guys want to go see the wine glass aquarium? Let's go check that out. The reason that I changed it was because I wanted to, I had a sea hare in the tank that was eating some green hair algae, and I was going to grow the Caulerpa to feed the sea hare, but the sea hare died before the Caulerpa grew, and then the Chaeto died because the Caulerpa choked it out. And so, yeah, it was just this big problem, and the only thing I was left with was the Caulerpa. But I'm going to get rid of the Caulerpa and go back to Chaeto because I like it better. You can make it roll, and it keeps the sump cleaner and stuff because you can put a pump in that section, which keeps the detritus stirred up and whatnot. But the copepods really like the detritus, so I don't know. Anyway, wine glass tank. It doesn't flip when I push the button unless I push the button twice. So here's the wine glass tank. This is pretty cool. If you've never seen this before, this is an exciting little experiment that I'm doing. Currently, it has the world's smallest hang-on-the-back filter on it. It's about 3 gallons. It has a, dadgummit, what is that called? I forget the name of this every single time I'm talking about it. Plenum, that's the name. It's got a plenum down here, 3 different grades or 2 different grades of sand through here. So the water drains down through here. This does not get oxygen exposed to it. So this is an anaerobic section, and that section down there converts the nitrates into nitrogen gas, theoretically. I don't have any coral in it at the moment. There's an arrow crab in here. Yep. right there. And there's a bumblebee snail in here somewhere. There's an Asterina starfish right there, and some bristle worms that the arrow crab's supposed to be eating, but he's not doing it. So yeah, anyway, this is going to get a very, very exciting video. There's the bumblebee snail right there. And there's also a single nearite snail in here somewhere. But anyway, this is going to get a very cool video, like Dr. Plants style video, if you've ever seen one of his videos before. Oh, and by the way, this Haiger light right up here, little 30-watt Haiger light, I love that thing. You can get that on the AZON as well. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, wine glass tank. I think I'm probably the only person on the planet right now who has a saltwater aquarium set up in a 2-foot tall wine glass. Yeah, so anyway, pretty kind of unique thing. I have a couple of buddies who want to set them up. Some of my... How do you do that? I would like to do that myself. So I've given them some tips. At least one person has picked up... Ooh, my pink hammer is big mad right now. I don't know what's up with that. But anyway, let's get back to the comments. All right, Tap, no worries. I got you. Brittany says, yep, I am. Cool. I'm probably way behind you guys. I'm sorry. Let me get some water. MT says, what are the signs that our tank is mature? Ooh. So there's lots of signs of a maturing tank, one of which is you might start seeing little white specks and stuff on the glass, and they move around and whatnot. Those are copepods, beneficial organisms. I actually recommend that everyone add copepods to their aquarium. You can get copepods and phytoplankton from podyourreef.com. Use code REEFROOKIES at checkout, and you get 10% off of an item. Pretty neat. It's a little thing that I was able to secure for you guys to help you out. They're sending me some, as a matter of fact, because I need to bolster the pod population in this tank. But that is one kind of sign of a tank maturing. Another sign of a tank maturing, believe it or not, is actually having less algae in the tank. As the tank matures, as the biodiversity in the tank increases, the diversity goes up. You end up with a situation where algae cannot outcompete all of the other things that are eating the same fuel sources as the algae. So a mature tank, in the end, you'll see the algae start to die off and go away, as long as everything else is in range where it needs to be. Some other signs, coralline algae is a good one. The stuff that you see up here on the top back here, most of mine is dead, but it's starting to come back around. I have the green and the pink kind. It comes in a whole bunch of different colors. It is a calcium-based algae. It builds almost like a calcium skeleton. It starts in a dot and just spreads out in every direction around it in a big circle like that. That's a sign of a tank beginning to mature. Sometimes it happens, 6 to 8 months in. You'll start seeing it pop up and stuff like that. So that's another sign. Big fat fish, believe it or not, is a sign of a mature aquarium, especially your grazers, like your bristle-toothed tang and your fox-faced rabbitfish, stuff like that. If they're always staying big and fat and healthy, then the maturity of the tank is at such a level that their food is being supplemented by the tank instead of just what you're giving them. Now, you can make a fish get big and fat by feeding it too much. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about big, like the fish is not fat in the belly. It's literally thick. All the meat around its body is thick, and, tangs will look like this instead of like this. That's a good sign that you have a mature tank. They have plenty to eat, so it's good. All right. MT says, I think you're right about the conch. It's my first reef tank, 6 months old. Very cool. Hello, Ramsey's Reef. I'm way behind on the comments, you guys, but we're going to get there. So yeah, anyway, thank you all for joining me. Hey, if you're not subscribed to my channel, if you wouldn't mind dropping a subscribe on the channel and smashing that like button a few times, that'll help us out. It'll get us where we're going. Kenneth posted a picture in the FB group of the conch climbing the glass to eat a brownish film patch. Huh, interesting. Wonder, that's pretty cool how he was like targeted in on that and headed to it. You know what I mean? That's pretty cool. Had a lot more people in the stream just a few minutes ago before I asked people to subscribe. That's kind of wild. But anyway, sunfish for fish. Thank you for the compliment on the setup. It definitely does need some work. And actually, I'm caught back up with the comments. Yeah, Amarok, I'm not going to look at how much they sell those fish for. But anyway, yeah, I'm sure it's a lot. Nope, now I got to know. Now I got to know. I can't not do it. You said it, and now I have to do it. So let's look them up. What'd you call that? Feminist. Femin. F-I-M. Oh, F-E-M-I-N-I-N-U-S. 2 I-N's. Femininus. Femininus. Huh. That's a cool name. All right, let's see. Live Aquaria. Oh, Tamarin wrasse. I actually have heard that name before. Connie says, when cycling a new tank, it has cycled and you have added your first fish. When should you do your first water change? That's a great question. Holy smokes, that's a $1,200 fish. Whew. That's crazy. That is definitely not a blue-striped pipefish. It's a blue-striped tamarin wrasse. Yeah. I can guarantee you with 100% certainty that I will never own one of those. Despite just not having the money for it, even if I did have the money, I'm not spending $1,200 on a fish. No, it's not happening. So yeah, anyway, Connie. So what I want you to think about, Connie, well, actually, I'm not going to tell you to think about it. What I would suggest that you do is a 10% water change on your tank weekly, no matter what. It doesn't. Just every week, set yourself a time, whatever time it is, Wednesday night, if you don't have nothing going on, do a 10% water change on your tank. That is the sort of sweet spot that has been landed on by the industry professionals who have studied the benefits of doing water changes on the tank and how much and how often. You can push it out a week and you could do 20% in 2 weeks or 40% in 4 weeks, once a month do a 40%, but it's usually easier for people to mix up 10% of their volume of their tank rather than mixing 40% of the volume of the tank. And when you're doing the 10% weekly, you're only removing 10% of the contaminants and you're putting 10% of the good stuff back in the tank. When you do a 40% change, that's a big change, and that can actually remove more things than you want to remove at one time. And it puts back new, good, clean salt water, which is not a problem, but you end up diluting the nutrients in the tank way more than you want to. And I don't know what's going on. When I get closer to the camera, it gets darker. So I apologize about that. Let me move my light a little bit and see if that helps at all with the situation. I felt like I was just talking way too close to the phone. So I can still see that with my glasses on, so it's okay. But yeah, Connie, I would just plan to do a 10% water change once a week. That's what I'm doing with my tank here. Although for me, 10% is 50 gallons of water. And you can see I got a 55-gallon drum right back over there. So that's a thing. YouTube user, negative. I do not have one of those sites. I'm not on that platform. Please don't spam the chat, by the way. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can take care of some of those. Let's do this and do this. Yeah, I'm not on that platform. So yeah, anyway, moving on. Connie, yes, it says no matter how new. If your nitrogen cycle has completed, then you can go ahead and start doing the 10% water changes. It doesn't matter. The amount of stuff that you're taking out of the tank with the 10% change is not so much, got to straighten the phone, it's not so much that it's going to be detrimental to the tank in any way. So having the old water out and the new water in is just going to go a long way into helping you keep that tank stabilized. And a stable tank is a happy tank. So yeah. One other thing, Connie, if you don't mind dropping it in the comments, what salt are you using? Are you mixing your own salt or are you picking salt water up from the fish store? And if you're getting it from them, what salt are they using? Do you know that stuff? Let me know. Wealthster, that is a hard name to say. Wealthster. I'm having to clean my glass daily now as there's buildup of algae growing. Will the wave maker help stop this? And is this normal in an infant tank? So yes, it is normal. However, the flow pump probably isn't going to help this situation at all. Generally, what we see when you start getting these things on the glass like that is you have an excess of phosphates in the tank. Of course, we have test kits that you can get to check that. I think I mentioned that to you earlier. If you can get the phosphate test kit, check it out, see where your phosphates are at. That'll probably give you an indication of, you know, what's going on with that. When the phosphates are kind of high, we start to see more of that dusting on the glass, and you have to clean it off every day. That's another point to the maturity aspect of a tank. Once a tank begins to mature more, you end up having to clean the glass less and less over time. It is something that definitely happens in a new tank. But as the tank matures, it becomes less of a problem. At this point, my tank is 2 years or so old. Hang on. It's just hanging there. My tank's about 2 years old, and I clean the glass about once every 10 days is all that's really required. So it's pretty neat kind of stuff, how that happens. I'm going to turn these lights up, see if I can stop that camera from shifting its coloration quite so much. I don't like how that's looking for you guys. And it's the YouTube camera is so much different. Anyway, all right. So Connie says right now I'm mixing it because when I started, that's where they told me to start at. But I have a new gentleman that I'm seeing that he'll mix it for me. So yeah. All right. Yep. Get the guy friend to take care of that for you. It's no worries. Instant Ocean Purple. So I have a bunch of that, but I'll be getting my water pre-mixed from a local fish store. Okay, so here's what I would say, Connie. My dog wants to go out, so I'm going to talk while I go let him out. I'm coming right back, but here's what I would say. I would not recommend, if you're already set up to mix your own salt water in your home, unless you're using tap water. But if you have an RODI filter, come on, Minus, let's go outside. Come on, go with your brother. If you have an RODI filter system in your home, and you should, if you have a saltwater aquarium, it's one of the things that I definitely recommend. I don't personally find that RODI is optional. A lot of people think so. I disagree. But if you're already set up to mix the salt water in your own home, I would continue doing that. If you're going to be keeping corals in your aquarium, the Instant Ocean Purple bag isn't going to be a salt that's going to sustain things for you. You get your RO water from the guy at the store. We started with everything, unfortunately, from Petco. That's all right. There's a lot of different ways to get into the hobby, and I would say that none of them are wrong. Some of them you might get some bad advice from somewhere, and all the advice that I give is not perfect. Sometimes I make mistakes as well. But generally speaking, I've done this enough times that I can send you down the right path. So here's what I would say. If you're going to get water from the fish store, just make sure that it's good. Have them test it and tell you the parameters. If they're using Instant Ocean Purple bag in the fish store, it's not going to be sufficient for corals. The parameters of that salt are lower on some of the trace elements that we need in our tanks for corals. So you might choose a different salt. Red Sea Blue Bucket is probably one of the best ones out there. It's readily available. It's almost everywhere. It's a good salt. There are other ones that we can get into. And if you really want to know, all of my different options for salt that I would recommend, hit me up on the FB group, Reef Rookies with Logan, for any of you who are watching who didn't know we had that. It's there. We also have a disc gourd as well. So that's cool. All those links are in my link tree, which is probably, it might be in my about section on YouTube. But so I'm going to start streaming on YouTube more. We'll probably do one stream on YouTube a week and then one stream over on the other platform, the TT platform, a week. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully this, with you guys hanging out with me here, this is going to stay as a video up on the channel for other people to watch, and it'll take the watch hours of the channel into the direction of being monetized. I still need about 1,000 more watch hours before I can get there. So anyway, yeah, Connie, that's no problem. Happy to help. I would recommend that in the end, what you're really going to want to do is get an RODI system for your own home, and you're going to want to be able to mix your salt water in your house. Because if you have something that needs to happen quickly, you need a large volume of salt water fast, and the fish store is closed, maybe they went on vacation or something, you're going to be scrambling around trying to find water. I've seen it happen so many times to so many people. A buddy of mine's tank was crashing, and he needed 300 gallons of salt water like immediately. And what ended up happening is he wasn't able to get it because of other extenuating circumstances. His RODI system had broken and he hadn't replaced it. And I was telling him, I'm like, that's going to bite you, man. You're going to need to make your own water eventually one day. And he did. And he couldn't do it. And he ended up losing his entire tank because he had some sort of, I told him not to do it. He ended up with flatworms. And he was going to run flatworm exit, but he was only going to run just a little bit of flatworm exit just to see if he could kill some off and start taking them out of the tank. And I'm like, do not do that. That is a mistake. It's going to be a bad time. And so he put the flatworm exit in there. A few of them died. They released their toxins. A few more things died. They released their toxins. And it was a snowball, and it destroyed his entire tank. If he'd have listened to me in the beginning, that wouldn't have happened, but he didn't. But the point that I'm making is he needed to make a lot of salt water really fast to stop that process from happening. He needed to do like a 150 gallon water change in his 300 gallon tank to slow that down, and he couldn't do it. Then the fish store was closed. It was a long weekend. It was a holiday weekend. I think it was Mardi Gras or something. He could not get salt water, so he was calling around to all his friends like, hey, do you have salt water? Can I come get some? And he got 20 gallons here and 30 gallons there and stuff, but he ended up, his tank crashed and he lost everything because he couldn't make his own salt water. That's an extreme circumstance, but it is something that can happen, and lesser but still very annoying things can happen if you're not able to make it your own at home. Reef keeper. Oh, what's up, man? How's it going? Man, my dog wants back inside, both of them. He says facts. Yeah, he's agreeing. Lumberzack, that's a cool name. Connie, I can give you all the information about that. Lumberzack says, and it's cheaper in the long run. That is absolutely 100% true. If you set up a decent 4-stage RODI system in your house so you can make your own RODI water, you're going to spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars less money on water over the course of keeping your aquarium than you will if you continue purchasing it at the fish store. So yeah, just something to think about. Emerok says, very true. As soon as I mix my water and do a water change, I quickly make new salt water, keep it in my 55-gallon drum. Absolutely. Because like mine, 55 gallons for me is a 22% water change or something like that. That's enough if I'm having a bad problem to like slow things down. Just for example, when I drain my tank to do my water change, it comes all the way down to right here. So this much of the water in my tank is my water change. It goes down all the way down there. But the total system volume, that's only 20% of my total volume. So it's pretty cool like that. But yeah, as far as setting it up, it's really simple. Reef Keeper's saying right there, you need a water source and a place to drain the wastewater. Why don't I just show you? I could literally take you and show you mine. So let's move that out of the way. Let me undo this. I'll just take you with me. We'll just go do it. Flip that. There we go. All right. So we're going to go. This is my nope, that's my diabetic dog. Mine, wow, I can't even remember my dog's names. That's my diabetic dog, Wheatley. And this is Roadkill Kitty. And then minus the 3-legger is out enjoying the back porch out there. But anyway, coming into the garage. So there's my custom motorcycle. This is what a 4-stage RODI unit looks like. You got a sediment filter that goes through the reverse osmosis membrane up there. Then it goes through the deionizing resin. This black tube, I got a bird's nest right there. Comes out this hose right here. I have all of this because I have to stretch it all the way into my living room. But it just comes out the end of the hose right here. It has another hose this orange one that comes right back here that drains, and that's where all of the bad water goes out that way. And this is the intake line where the water comes in. If I go in under the sink here, it just hooks up very simply like that with a little ball valve, and I turn the valve on and it begins making water. And yeah, so that's it. You know, you can get one of those on Amazon right now for about $150. And the filters that are in it will be good enough to make several hundred gallons of water. Maybe even more than hundreds of gallons of water. It just depends on which one you get and which filters you decide to go with. Different RODI systems. That's yummy stuff. That's for later. So anyway, different RODI systems have different flow rates. So like mine is 75 gallons per day. So that's about how much I can make every day. Look, with my RODI filter. So it does take a little while to fill things up. My 55-gallon drum, when I'm going to do a water change or whatever, it takes about 16 hours or so for that thing to fill up. I get up in the morning, ball valve while I'm having breakfast or whatever, and Bob's your uncle. There we go. So anyway, that was a lot of stuff about RODI. If Connie, if you have any other questions, just let me know. What I will say is, if you're going to do it at your house, you're going to want to have a spare heater and a spare pump, and then you're going to need some sort of a way to pump that water from that container into the display, and then also a way to get the water out of the display and down a drain or something like that. So you have to keep all of that in mind. But I'm telling you, it's going to be worth it in the end if you do that. And Connie, if you need recommendations for products and things like that, I can get you recommendations. If you're on the Facebook, dang it, I'm not supposed to say that. If you're on the FB group, drop a post, ask me about it. I'll type up a little thing about how you do, mix RO water and do water changes. I need to do that anyway. I need to make it a video too. And I can make some product recommendations for you and share those links with you there. So yeah. Let's see what else we got. Crown Crusader said, that's one huge rainbow bubble tip. How do you make it that big? What do you feed it? So actually, I thought you were, Connie. It's getting hard for me to remember now. We're almost at 900 people in the group. And I'm almost at 15,000 followers across all of my platforms. So it's getting very difficult to remember who is where. So this is actually not a rainbow bubble tip. It is a Black Widow bubble tip. So it's just a different coloration. You just opened up there for us. That's super cool. It's Waterflow does that. But the only thing that I feed this guy on the regular, it just gets, okay, no problem, dude. Yeah, Wealthster, I'll see you later. And no worries about your never-ending questions. Everybody's got to learn this hobby, man. Nobody knows how to do this from Jump Street. But anyway, the only thing that I feed this guy is fish food every day. That's it. He gets mysis, he gets brine, spirulina. I mix it in the frozen food and stuff, and he eats that. Occasionally, every now and then, I'll give him a piece of a silverside minnow, and he'll munch down on that. But other than that, the only thing you need to grow big anemones is good water parameters, good flow, and good lighting, and occasionally some feeding. That's it. They will grow big. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to take a break on talking for just a second, slow down a little bit. My throat's kind of hurting. I can go get some medicine for that. Oh, he's chilling right by the glass. He usually doesn't chill like that. He's usually always zooming around, doing zoomies. This is my filament fin flasher, or filament fin fairy. And you can, he doesn't flash a lot, so it's hard to see his filaments. Boom, there he goes. But they're up there. Where's my new fish at? Where is my new fish? He might, oh, there he went. He's right back there. There he is. That's called a Timor wrasse, or an orange dashed wrasse, and he is very fast. And he is a pig. Okay, let's see what we got here. Crown Crusader, yeah, no problem. Navdeep says 2 foot height, 7 foot width, 18-inch length. How many filter does it need underneath? So it's not about how many. It's just about making sure that you have enough filtration so that you can maintain the parameters that you need the tank to be set at. Not really about the number of filters you have. It's just about making sure. I wonder if I take that light away. Is that better? That's worse. It's just about making sure that you have proper nutrient export. I'm running two 7-inch filter socks, and I have a fairly large skimmer, and I have a Refugium section. So I like biological filtration much more than I like any sort of mechanical, and definitely not chemical filtration. So it's impossible for me to say. That sounds roughly about like a 225-gallon aquarium. That's pretty close to that size. So if you were to run like a decent skimmer rated for a 200-gallon tank, you could run a filter mat fleece roller type situation, like one of the big ones, the 6-inch one or whatever. You could do that. But what I would say is it's not one of those situations where you're going to have to set everything up right at the beginning. You know, as the tank matures, you're going to have to add things over time to make sure it works. Ari No says, turn on the Lesginka song. I don't even know how to turn on music on the stream. Sorry. I'm on my mobile, so I have a lot less buttons than I do on the computer. But so anyway, yeah, Navdeep, it's impossible to say, man. There's so many different ways that you could keep a reef tank happy and healthy. There is no like one right way to do it. There's lots of different ways to do it. Already know. Not really sure why that's funny, but all right. But anyway, yeah. If you want some recommendations for how you could set it up, yeah, I could show you my filtration setup. My Refugium light is still on, so we can go down here and take a look at that for sure. Da-da-da, da-da-da. I guess I probably just hold this thing in my hand now as much as we're moving around, huh? Tap it again. All right, so all the water in my tank goes over this overflow right here in the middle. It goes over that, right? And then it flows down those pipes into this chamber where there are two 7-inch filter socks. They look like that. The first one's overflowing into the second one, so it's going to be time to clean those real soon. So it flows into those, and then it comes out down there. It'll come out up here if the filter socks get full and they start overflowing. It'll come out right there. It's a safeguard. But they come out all the way down there at the bottom. The water does. Let me put this back up here. There we go. And it goes into the skimmer section, which is here. I've got a nice cap K1 200 here, which is kind of mad right now for some reason. It's not skimming properly at the moment, probably because I stuck my hands in the tank and was messing with the tank earlier. So that's kind of what's going on with that. And then it flows into a Refugium. This is a 120-watt plant growth LED light. It looks like that. Well, it looks like that. This is Caulerpa macroalgae down here. I'm going to be getting rid of that, going back to another type called Chaeto. But the Chaeto will actually fill this entire chamber up. And then I've just got my two heaters laying down at the bottom there. A bubble trap section right here, and then my return over here, which sends everything back to the tank. So that's what my filtration looks like. I do a lot of biological filtration. And right now, for some reason, I don't really know why, I have algae growing on the sand bed. I don't know what's going on with that, but there's quite a bit of it, and there's even some cyano starting to grow right back there, that red stuff. I think it could just be flow because I turned my pumps down a little bit, but all of this is all green algae. I think it's green hair algae, but I'm going to get it cleaned up, and I'll get it gone. I put that rock in there pretty recently, so that's why it's bright green like that. But yeah, all these rocks, everything, all the biological filtration in this tank is actually, you know, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Big, dense rocks, you know, lots of nitrate conversion to nitrogen gas happening. I thought that coral back there was dead, which is hard for you to see it, but there actually are just a few little polyps down there on the bottom. And that is the exact same coral as that one. So this one's doing fine. That other one's not doing too good. But I think I'm going to snip the rest of that coral off and see if it doesn't recover. So yeah, anyway, pretty cool. We can take a look at the other stuff if anybody has any more questions. And look, if you guys are not subscribed to my channel, I do drop videos at least weekly on, you know, how to keep saltwater aquariums and things that you do and things that you take care of. So if you don't mind dropping a subscription on the channel, that would be amazing. Ooh, sorry about that flash. That went kind of crazy there for a minute. These corals are reaching quite a bit because my lights are no good. I have new pop bloom lights on the way, the RL90s. So that's going to be very exciting to get those and get those hooked up. This guy must be hungry. He keeps looking at us. Like, what are you doing? A cleaner shrimp right here. He's having a good day. Big desert Jenny Tang. So that's what I was talking about your fish being thick. I wonder if I could see it from this side. You can see he's not thin. He's a thick boy. So that's one of the ways you can know that things are looking good. I've got a fire shrimp back there. So that's pretty cool. And you can see it's kind of crazy. My anemone is actually attached on the back of the rock back there, but it stretches itself all the way around front so that it can get to the light and whatnot. At night, it completely closes up back around the back of the rock. Navdeep, I am in Louisiana, USA. So pretty cool. Coral beauty. I got some big fat chromies. Those are big dudes. Anyway, all right, let's get this thing flipped back around. Very cool. Thank you for the questions, everybody. Appreciate that. My cat is currently screaming at me for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, if you have any more questions, happy to answer those. Oh, Reef Keeper. That's very cool. I was in the military too. I was in the Army aviation. I worked on Apache helicopters for 4 years. I am about 20 minutes straight north of New Orleans, little town called Slidell. So, yeah, all right, got some questions rolling through here. Crown Crusader says, you should get a Diamond Watchman goby. I had dirty sand as well, and within the next 3 days, made the sand white. I do plan on getting one. I had one before, and unfortunately, he never really thrived. He just sort of failed to thrive in the tank. I mean, he would eat, but not a lot. He would pick at the mysis and stuff, but sorry, I was letting my cat in my kid's room. But yeah, unfortunately, he just he didn't make it one day, and that sucks. But I am going to get another one. Coral View territory, yeah, absolutely. I'm about 10 minutes from the Coral View headquarters. They're actually a channel partner as well, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm going to get another diamond goby, at least one, probably not two, but I might get two. If I get one and he stays kind of on this side of the tank over here, I may get another one for that side of the tank over there. It'd be all right if I could get a male-female pair. I don't really want to do two males, and I don't really want to do two females. That's usually not good, but a male-female pair would probably be okay. By the way, guys, how's the beard looking? How's the beard looking? I've been growing this puppy out. This is about 8 months right here. I feel like it's looking pretty good. Anyway, it's kind of scraggly. Eventually, this is going to come and go out this way, you know, proper. It's going to be nice. Anyway, that's just a little fun. Let's see. Any tips on getting rid of Aiptasia? Yeah, actually, I have an Aiptasia right behind those orange Bam Bams right back there. So the only thing, if you have one or two in your tank, the only thing that you really need to do to get rid of them is inject them with lemon juice. That's it. That's all you need to do. Just get something that you would use with the pointy thing to inject things. I can't say the word, obviously, but if you get one of those and you suck it full of lemon juice and you stab that dude and you just pump him full of lemon juice, they die immediately and they shrivel up and go away. If you have a bunch in your tank, there's a couple of biological ways that you can go about getting rid of those. By far, the best one is a Bergia nudibranch, usually a couple, 2 or 3. Berghia, I believe is how you spell it. That nudibranch exclusively feeds on the Aiptasia, which is a glass anemone. It is the only thing that it eats. So if you get a few of those and you put them in your tank, they will eat all of the Aiptasia away. But the problem is once they've eaten the Aiptasia, then they have no food source. So you can either also add a fish to eat the Bergia, or the Bergia will end up just dying in the tank. I have seen people take a rock with Aiptasia on it and put it into a tank with a bunch of rock rubble, like 1 inch big pieces of rock, and they will let that tank just grow Aiptasia. And every now and then, once a week or something, they'll take one of those rocks with those Aiptasia on it, they'll drop it in their main display, the Bergia nudibranch find it, they eat it all up, whatever. And then they'll take that rock when it's clean, put it back in the tank again. And it keeps their Bergia alive, which keeps all of the baby Aiptasia munched down in the main display, but they have to have a whole other tank set up for the Bergia. Or you could get a peppermint shrimp, but only one of the 5 species of peppermint shrimp actually eat Aiptasia. It is L. wordemani is the species. WRRIDEMANNI, I think. If you type something close to that, Google will find it for you. But yeah, it's L. wordemani. They are the only one of the 5 that actually eat Aiptasia. And then you can get an Aiptasia eating filefish. They also do sometimes. I do not recommend trying a copper band butterfly for Aiptasia. Sometimes they will eat them, but they are a very hard fish to care for. So I wouldn't do that. Some people will tell you to get a copper band butterfly. I don't recommend it. So that's what I would say about that. Yeah, me too, Crown. There was an Aiptasia killing laser that was pushed around on the market there for a few years. Whew. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. My mustache is tickling me. Now I got to talking about it and stuff. But anyway. Oh, Angel, hey, what's going on? You were looking for it on the other platform over there. We're over here today. I just wanted to see how it's going. It's going pretty well. We got 40-ish people. Whoa, I'm falling over. We got 40-ish people kind of hanging in here with us and a few likes on the stream. I'm sure we've gained a couple of subscribers here and there, so that's nice as well. Mostly, I just want to run the watch time for this channel into the monetization zone. I need about 1,000 more hours. So 40 people in here, every hour I go is going to add 40 hours of watch time. So it's pretty cool. We'll get there in the end. But yeah, I put 4 in, but I have a few wrasse. If you have some wrasses, they might eat the Bergias. So that's a thing that you have to keep track of. Trying to, sometimes one thing that you can do is you can put the wrasse in an acclimation box or in another tank and let the Bergias do their thing and then put the wrasse back in. But it's definitely hard to have them all together at the same time. Hang on one second. I got to check a text. Oh, okay. No, we're good. Reef Keeper says, I have a copper band, and I agree. It's a very hard fish to get to eating. Mine tears up the Aiptasia. Filefish is a much better choice. Yeah, very cool. Mark says, I don't do that other platform, so I haven't seen any of your live streams. This is a first. Well, very cool, Mark. I'm glad that you're here hanging out with us. I actually do stream over there about once a week, but the plan actually from this point forward is any of the streams that I do over there, I'm allowed to download those, and I'm going to upload them over here as a video on demand from those streams, where the people who are over here on this platform that don't like that one can still have access to that information. That also will drive my watch time through the roof, because it's almost like a podcast, but there's a video with it as well. A lot of people will put it on and just listen to it, so it'll help. And a lot of times, a lot of the same information is covered, but repetition is not necessarily a bad thing for us. In this hobby, it keeps things fresh to mind and, goes over all of the stuff. So anyway, yeah. I'm glad you're here. I appreciate you. Not sure if you know or not, Mark, but we also have a group on the FB platform, the Face platform. We have a group there. And if you use Discord, there is a group there as well. And all of those links are in my link tree, which I think is in my About Me page. I'm actually, when I get done with the stream today, I'm going to go make sure that that link is in my auto description and all that stuff where it's easy for people to find. So anyway, enough about that. That was a whole bunch of housekeeping. Fish tanks. What questions do we have, you guys? Let's drop another one. My dogs are passed out. The cat's in there and passed out. I'm thirsty. I'm kind of hungry too, and I don't have a snack. I do have a snack. Y'all might have to just bear with me while I eat something. Ooh, that was very loud. I apologize. This is one of our favorite snacks. Honeydew melon. Yeah, Kenneth. That's actually, it was something I was considering. But I don't think what was that? My dog is in here. I don't think that I'm going to worry too much about it. I think probably what I'm going to do is just do one over here and then also do one over there. Try to go, do it once a week on both platforms. Any plans on getting a roller instead of the filter socks? Nope. I'm definitely not planning on that. This tank wants to run itself as an ultra low nutrient system. I'm not doing it on purpose. It wants to be that way. It's currently running at 0.01 phosphate. And today, when I checked this morning, the nitrates were at 5. They were at 2 a week ago, but they're at 5 now. And now that they're up to 5, I have algae and cyano showing up because that's what this tank does. For some reason, if the nitrates get up to 5 or even, anywhere over 5, algae and cyano and bad stuff starts happening in this tank. I've had tanks before where the nitrates could go up to 50 and the phosphates could go up to like 2 or 3.0 parts per million. And I'd never have algae. I'd never have cyano, nothing. So it's kind of weird that this tank is doing that to itself on purpose. But part of the reason why I think it's doing that is I've got 200 pounds of very dense live rock in here. There's a lot of anaerobic zone in this tank that's converting nitrates to nitrogen gas. So I think that's part of it. Richmond Aquatics, what's up, my friend? Happy to see you here, man. Hope your tank is going well. Hope the new addition to the family and all that is going as well. I can't speak because I'm trying to eat honeydew melon. This is one of the best things that's ever happened to this planet. Okay, Connie says I used Fluvol. Wait a minute. Let me go back up. Connie says I used Fluvol cycle to cycle the tank. The instructions state to use it each time you do a water change. Okay, so you can do that. It's not going to hurt anything. But once the tank has gone through the nitrogen cycle, the ammonia and nitrites went up and came down to 0, and you still got some nitrates and stuff in there. Doing the water change doesn't remove any of the beneficial bacteria from the aquarium. They actually don't live in the water column. They live in a little slice of film algae on the surfaces of everything in the tank. There's a little 50 micron sort of sliver. There's like rock, and then there's film algae, and then there's a little 50 micron sliver where the beneficial bacteria, the nitrifying bacteria live, and then there's a little film algae right on top of them. So they're in that little middle zone right there. So doing the water change doesn't take the beneficial bacteria out, but doing the water change does remove some of the nutrients from the tank, usually not too many, but adding the beneficial bacteria back into the tank at the time of the water change is a good practice. But after a couple months after the water change, it's just not needed. A couple months after the nitrogen cycle finishes, it's just not needed anymore. That is a ploy to get you to continue buying a product from them that you don't need. It's capitalism. That's all it is. On that, I'll eat some honeydew melon. Angel says, I got to get rid of the ick on my powder blue tank for the second time. I had a temp swing when I installed my chiller. Yeah, those fish, man, they are ick magnets. They can get ick if you like look at them wrong. They can get ick. But you can get rid of it as long as the fish is happy and healthy and eating good. You can get rid of it. Oh, hang on. Niall, is that how you say that? Hope I said that right. Filter rollers are just money making. Fad. Can't beat filter floss. I can see their place. There's a good friend of mine. Well, I say good friend. He's an acquaintance. He's also an aquarium content creator. And he has a beautiful little cube tank, and he's got a little small filter roller sticking right out the top of it. And they do serve a purpose. I can see the appeal, and I can see the benefit of having one. But that is also correct. I mean, having filter floss in your tank and letting the water flow through it's going to do exactly the same thing. Well, it actually doesn't do exactly the same thing, because the filter floss, it does trap everything, but it keeps it in the water column. The filter mat removes it from the water column immediately. As soon as that section is clogged up, it rolls. That stuff's outside the tank now. And so that is the difference with a filter roller, is that stuff's not just sitting in there. But there's a lot of different ways that you could do saltwater aquarium and be successful. Gator says, I can't seem to keep copepods. I've added them twice with no luck. The first time in the tank, the second time I added them to a hang-on Refugium, still no luck. So what I would recommend for you to do, Gator, is the next time you order some copepods, also order yourself some phytoplankton. Okay, the main food source for copepods is phytoplankton, and actually, phytoplankton is almost like a superfood for the reef tank. Corals use it. There are some fish that use it, but generally not the fish that we keep in our saltwater aquariums. There are some planktivore fishes out there. But what I would say, you could go to www.podyourreef.com. You can order some copepods. They got 4 different species. You can order some phytoplankton. If you use code REEFROOKIES, spelled like it is on my shirt right here, you get 10% off one of those items. That's something I was able to get put together for you guys. And add the copepods at night with the pumps off. Let them get buried into the rocks and stuff like that, into the sand and all that. And different types of copepods live in different zones in the aquarium. There are copepods that they prefer to be on the sand and in all of those little channels and stuff in the sand. And then there's pods that prefer to be on the rocks. There are pods that are just free swimmers, and once they're used up by the fish or they're taken out by the filtration, they're just gone. So get the pods, 4 different species if you can, put them in the tank. The next day, start dosing the tank with whatever milliliter you decide is best for your tank of phytoplankton. Usually, depending on the tank size, anywhere from 2 mils to about 5 or maybe even 10 is fine. I have some going to be on the way here tonight. I think it's going to be on the way to start doing my tank as well. So that's what I would say. Without knowing anything about your tank, you might have a fish in your tank that just munches those things down. And in that case, it's just going to be very hard to keep a full population without a very substantial refugium. The hang on the back types probably are not going to be able to get it done because there's just not enough volume there. But that's not to say that it's not possible. I've done hang on the back refugiums on small tanks before, filled them full of the ceramic biomedia that has the holes in it. And that's just like a breeding ground for pods. I personally, in that situation, did not try to grow any sort of a macroalgae in the refugium. I dosed the tank with phyto, and I dosed it directly into the refugium first. So they got like super fed every night, and whatever didn't make it in there went into the tank. It was one of the best looking tanks I've ever had. That was about 15 years ago that I did that. So yeah, anyway, Rich Man, little girl growing up fast. That's amazing, man. I'm so happy for you with that. I'm glad there was no problems and everything. Oh, Michael said, remind everyone, no garlic for ick. So here's the thing. Garlic is fine to use to get the fish to eat. You just have to understand that it's not doing anything medically for the fish. It's not a medication. It's not an anti-parasitic. It is an it's the opposite of immunosuppressant, immuno booster. We'll go with that. I can't remember the actual term, but it makes your immune system a little healthier, a little stronger. Does the same thing in fish that it does in humans. It's an antioxidant, and it is a fish attractant. They like to eat things that have that garlicky smell to it, which is kind of weird. I don't know who figured that out, but okay, you know. So anyway, it can be used. It's just that it doesn't do anything medically for the fish. So yeah, angels, man, I felt that so much work. Don't like looking at him anymore. Yeah. Can you give some tips for hammer coral, says Matt? Yes, I can. Most people have their hammer corals in way too much water flow. So if mine's big mad right now because I turned up the water flow this morning to help with the algae problem. So if you have your hammer coral and you got the little hammer, the little ends of the bits, right? If your hammer coral is doing this in the water and like flipping and flopping, or it's just blowing like this, that's too much. All hammer coral's preferred flow is extremely low. So all you want is just the little tips, the little hammers, to be sort of doing one of these kind of deals. That is adequate and sufficient flow for a hammer coral. They do not like more than that. Mine currently right now, it probably would be okay if it was bigger, but it's probably too much flow for it in the tank right now. It's moving around a little bit more than you would like, but yeah. So anyway, Richmond says, I think I know who you were talking about. Yeah, you probably do. He's over on the TT as well, and he's part of the FB group too. So yeah, you probably do know exactly who I'm talking about. A couple of people like the Reef roller mats. You had high nitrates. Yep. Now they're down to about 25. Yeah. See, that's what I mean though. The roller mats have a purpose. You know, people whose tanks want to run at high nutrient zones that don't have the biological filtration to bring them down or whatever, they're great for those tanks. There's no way I'd put a roller mat on this tank with this tank sitting at 2 to 5 parts per million of nitrate. It's going to strip the nitrates and phosphates out of the tank. I'm going to end up with dinos. So there's no reason for me to run one. Kenneth wants to know, what are my thoughts on polyfill in a filter cup over socks? I run both, and sometimes interchangeably. Sometimes I'll put polyfill in my socks. This is a funny conversation, but it just depends on what you're trying to do. If I'm trying to really polish the water and take a lot of suspended particles out of the water, there's something else you can do for that too. But if I'm trying to do that, then sometimes I'll put filter floss in the socks and run it that way for a week or so, and then they clog up super fast. But it does take out a bunch of suspended detritus. But if you wanted another option for doing that, get yourself some of this. This is Reef Clarify from Podyour Reef, and it is a calcium carbonate solution. It's basically marine snow is what they call it. You could put this in the tank. This is a flocculant. It will bind the detritus particles together, make them bigger, and make them float so that they will go out the... it makes them sink. So you have to turn your flow up higher. What am I thinking about that floats? I don't remember. Bubble scrubbing would float, but I don't know what I was just thinking about. But anyway, this stuff, it sinks, but it binds the particles together, and then they can be filtered out of the tank easier by the filtration. Specifically, your skimmer. You have to have a good skimmer to run this stuff. You cannot, they do not recommend that you run it without a good skimmer. But yeah, Kenneth, I like polyfill, filter floss. I used to, when I had a little less money, and now we're getting back to that same point, I would go to Walmart and I would get the polyfill, the 2-inch thick polyfill for quilting. It's exactly the same stuff. It's literally the same stuff that they cut into squares this big and sell for $23 a pad. You can get a truck bed full of it for $23 at Walmart. Reefing on the cheap. Yeah. So anyway, what do you think of Ulva lactica macroalgae instead of Chaeto? I tried to grow some, Mark. And for whatever reason, in my tank, it did not want to grow. It didn't like it. It turned into goo, and then it just dissolved and went away. I don't know if maybe I didn't have enough nutrients for it in this tank, because like I was saying, this tank is running at an ultra low nutrient situation. I don't know if maybe that's what was going on, or if maybe it was the lighting in the refugium or what, but it didn't want to grow. I do like it. I think that it's fairly attractive when there's a lot of it. My dream reef tank has 2 display refugiums, one on either side of the tank. And on one side would be all like red halomedia, dragon's breath, and all that stuff. And on this side over here, I would do like greens, green macros, caulerpa, leafy caulerpa, not the grape kind, because that goes sexual. And it can just pop up anywhere in the tank. But I do like macroalgae tanks. I think that they are, you know what? I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and put some of this in the tank, because I do have a little phosphates, but I don't have a lot of nitrates, but maybe it'll help get some of this detritus this stuff is using out of the tank. So yeah, anyway, that's that. Here we go. Moving on. Thank you for helping me with the nitrate on the group. No problem. Happy to do it. The cyano problem. Yeah. Luke, no problem. Happy to help, man. This is what I'm doing. I just want you guys to be successful keeping reef tanks. And sometimes that takes time and multiple suggestions and multiple avenues, for doing what you need to do to solve a problem. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Kenneth is more thinking I'm sick of cleaning cleaning socks. Just tossing and replacing the polyfill would be a bit easier. I completely agree with you. I also am kind of sick of cleaning socks, and I have a 3D print. Well, I'm picking up 2 3D printers next week. And one of the things that I have been thinking about 3D printing was 2 7-inch polyfill baskets, so that I could put them in my sock holders. I could put filter pads, filter floss in there, and and do exactly that. Pull them out, throw it away, put them back, new pad, done. No more washing the socks and all that stuff. I'm going to try that for probably about 6 to 8 months and see if I like it more than the socks. And I may go back, I may not. I don't know. But hey, listen, guys, if you're here right now and you're learning and you're enjoying the stream and you're hanging out with us, and maybe you've never seen me before, my name is Logan. I run Reef Rookies, where I teach people how to do saltwater aquariums. If you don't mind dropping a subscription onto the channel, I drop videos about once a week. They're not too many. You're not going to get notifications every single day. But I drop videos about once a week here on YouTube. I'm going to be streaming once a week here on YouTube. And yeah, just, if you're having a good time, why not? That would be amazing. So Brian from Holland says, good, interesting information. Cool, man. I'm glad you're having a good time. What is your thoughts on skimmers? I've never used one in 25 years of reef keeping. Well, that's an interesting number, because I've also been reef keeping for 25 years, and I have only ever had, that's a lie. I was about to say 1 tank. I've only ever had 2 tanks. I've got a 2-foot tall wine glass aquarium over behind the wall, behind the camera. I'll be right back. Was that you?
I ate shit on the floor.
Did you?
I went to sit down in my chair and it went out.
All right. Well, you okay? Okay.
I was kind of asleep. I was in my bed and I went to get up.
All right. I'm glad you're okay. Oh man, my kid just bit the dust. They were asleep and boom. So anyway, I've only ever had 2 tanks that I didn't have skimmers on. I am running a Ice Cap K1 200 skimmer on this tank. So skimmers, there are more prawns. That's a shrimp. There are more pros than cons when you're talking about running skimmers on tanks, in my opinion. However, as you're sizing your skimmers down and you're getting down into the nano skimmer range, there is a point where you reach diminishing returns, where the skimmer is just not worth putting on a tank. It's too small. It's not going to function, how it needs to function. There's a couple of them that are on the market now that actually do work. But the thing about a skimmer is you need the dwell time of the bubbles inside the body of the skimmer. And these really small skimmers, they just don't have the dwell time. It needs that period of time for excuse me, I'm burping. That's the honeydew melon. It needs that dwell time for the detritus to stick to the surface attractiveness of the bubbles that are inside the skimmer, and the little bitty ones don't work. They just don't work that good. The smallest skimmer that I would really consider spending any money on would be like one of the Reef octopus, like the something NH, I think 100 model is a Reef octopus one. That's about the smallest skimmer that's really gonna work well. There are some that will kind of work, but that's about the smallest one that's really going to work well. But some of the benefits of skimmers, so we can talk about that for a second. They instantly take care of any oxygenation problem that you have in your aquarium. I have run skimmers on a tank just for that purpose before, just to make sure that the tank had adequate oxygenation. And if you run into a situation where you want to run chemiclean or something like that in the tank, having a skimmer prevents needing air stones in the tank, because air stones create a ton of salt creep, and salt creep is never fun. Nobody wants that. So that is one of the benefits of having a skimmer. Another benefit is that they raise the pH of the aquarium, and they help stabilize that pH. So if your pH is a little bit too low and you want to bring it up some, adding a skimmer can help you with that. And it helps the stability of the pH as well. Of course, if it's working properly, it's going to remove some dissolved organics, mostly sulfates and some of the other eights that you really don't want in the tank for a long period of time. They're, feeds algae and stuff like that. That's probably where the algae is coming from. My skimmer has not been working properly recently, and I can't figure out why, but that's probably where the algae is coming from. Huh. I wonder if the airline has some water in it. I bet that's what it is. It's got enough air in it though. The skimmer, I mean. I'm gonna change this around and hang this out like that, where there's nothing going on there. I don't know why, but the foam head on the skimmer's been acting a little funny lately. So anyway, figuring out my own problems with my own tank, talking about all this stuff. So anyway, yeah, I like skimmers. There really aren't any downsides to them. The only thing I could really think of is if you're running like a hang on the back one and something happens and it overflows, it's going to make a mess. That's never a good time. But otherwise, I really don't see a downside to running them, to be honest with you. Crown Crusader says, is that hair algae on your rocks? Because I've been going through the same problem. Heard of people using something called Blue Life Flux RX and it gets rid of it. So I do think that I'm getting a little bit of hair algae. However, if you're talking about that spot right there, that big spot right there that's kind of green, that is because my light up there has lost half of its blue LEDs in the last week or so. So like if I raise this up, we'll put that there. And nope, yeah. So you can see how dark that is. If I turn that back on, if I turn the blues off, you can see this side over here now looks just as green as this side over here. Turn the blue back on and it looks different. Again, same thing as if I do this. Whoop, that's blue. Same thing if I do that, it looks way more green. That's actually a very interesting comparison. But anyway, so turn that back on and you get the blue back. But yeah, Angel, I did not get the lights yet. There was some stuff with the bank with the money transfer because I did have to pay them a little bit. They gave me about a 50% discount on those lights. So they haven't shipped yet, but they should be shipping here hopefully like today. I mean, I'm ready. I am ready. You hear me? Ready. And they sent me 4 of them. So that's going to be very nice. I'm going to have the 2 on the end are kind of going to be sort of angled kind of that way, taking light into the tank. Not extreme, but just a little bit of an angle that way. And then the 2 in the middle are going to be straight down, and then the one on that end is going to be angled back into the middle this way. So they're going to be they're going to be a lot of fun to play with for sure. Vignesh says, I'm a freshwater guy, but I find saltwater very complicated. Are there any books that you would like to recommend? So here's the thing about books. All of the books that I have ever found on saltwater aquaria and reef keeping are extremely complicating. They're extremely complicated. They just are. Which is why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm trying to break these extremely complex topics down into simpler topics that are easier to understand and easier to, for people to digest and get a mindset about what's going on, rather than going through the chemical equation of what pH does in the presence of high or low alkalinity. You may want to dig that far into it at some point. But for all intents and purposes, you need to know where the pH needs to be and that it needs to be stable. And you need to know that as the alkalinity goes up, the pH goes up. You don't need to know which atom the hydrogen ion moves from. You know what I mean? So that's very interesting stuff to get into if you want to dig into the biochemistry of it that way. But most of the book, well, let me just back up. All of the books that I have ever tried to read on reef keeping, I've been bored in the first 45 seconds of reading the book. I forget the guy's name. JC, Julian something. I'm sure somebody in the chat can tell me the name. There's a lot of people do like his book. Julian Childs, Julian something. Let me look it up. Get my tablet out over here. See if somebody says it before I get to it. It's one of the most famous reef keeping books. People call it the Reef Keeping Bible. Julian Sprung. That's it. There is a book by Julian Sprung that is very, very, very good. Yep, there it is. Reef Keeper named it. Yep. Well, and so did everybody else. I beat you guys to it. I beat you to it. Anyway, I'm a little crazy like that sometimes. I think that's why my wife likes me so much. I don't know. I think I remind her of Floki from Game of Thrones. Or is it Game of Thrones? No, Vikings. Can't imagine why. But he was first, I came second. But anyway, yeah, the Julian Sprung books are very, very, very good. They still are probably very close to what I would call perfect, but they're boring. But and it's because it's a chemistry book and a botany book. You learn about macroalgae and stuff. You're talking about botany. But I have ADHD, so nothing keeps my attention for very long. That's why live streaming is great for me, because I keep getting questions and I can talk about stuff. But saltwater aquaria calms me down. I should make a video about that. Everybody's been doing that. What got you into saltwater aquaria? Well, I like it because it calms me down. So yeah, anyway, what I would say, Vignesh, is if you really want to learn reef keeping and you want somebody to break it down for you into an easy to understand, easy to, wrap your head around type of thing, just follow me. I'm here. I'm on that other platform that TT. I'm on there as well, same name. We have an FB group that you can join. It's Reef Rookies with Logan, Logan. You can look that up. You can join there, ask questions. And we also have a Discord channel. So all of those sources are out there. My link tree to all of those things is going to be in my description by tomorrow. In my description and in my YouTube About Me page, I'll have it up by tomorrow. I don't think it's in there, but it's going to be in there. So anyway, yeah, shows that I don't read his books, says Kenneth. Yeah. Icon Entertainment. What's going on? Hey, I don't recognize your name, but obviously you and Reef Keeper know each other. So what's up? Gearing up for a Frag show. Excited to see what I come home with. Well, buy me something. I want frags. I will work for Coral. You know what I mean? Anyway, so by the way, heard you mention 3D printing. I happen to also have a 3D printer for useful things for my aquarium, but for a number of things. Remember to get one with automatic bed leveling. The one that the two that I'm getting, both of them, I believe they do have automatic bed leveling. I'm pretty sure. I am a 3D printing brand newbie, like new. So yeah, anyway, I'll be checking into all of that. Michael says, Julia Child was an older British cook on TV, showing your age. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are showing my age, like these glasses and these bags under my eyes. Those are showing my age too, but you know, it's unavoidable. So yeah, I hope you get some nice stuff too. That's for sure. Creality K1 Max is the one I use. Get it. Well, I actually don't have a choice for the ones that I'm getting because I'm trading my project motorcycle, not my cool green one, a different one that I have. I'm trading a guy for two A-Net ET4s. One of them is a pro version and one of them is a non-pro version, but the only difference is the stepper motors are quiet in the pro version and they're not quiet in the non-pro version. But those are the ones I'm getting. It just is what it is. It's what he has, is what he's willing to trade. They're brand new in the box, so I'm going to get those. I'm going to set the pro up and probably keep the other one for spare parts. It's probably what I'm going to do. I might set them both up. I don't know. Popsicle stand. Oh, wait a minute. Ken said, time for me to run, go do some errands. Leaving you running on the TV for the few time. Appreciate you, my friend. You're on TV. That is interesting. Huh. That gives me a lot to think about, Kenneth, as far as like YouTube back end stuff, you know, like how to format your videos and things like that. Interesting. Popsicle stand. That's a cool freaking name. Just finished all the videos on my lunch break. Hands down, you go in depth on everything, and that is a huge plus for everybody that has no idea what they're doing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I would like to go a lot more in depth, but that's difficult because everything is freaking related. So it's like if you want to really go really deep in depth into everything, then it's going to end up being a really long video. So I'm sticking to the easier to cover topics right now. There are some things like the biochemical relationship between calcium, magnesium, alkalinity. I need to brush back up on that, you know, so I haven't made a video on that yet. But nobody getting into reef keeping is worried about that at this point. That's why I concentrate so much on the nitrogen cycle, the ugly phase, and issues that are coming up, you know, fish pathogens and things like that, because that's what most people getting into the hobby are dealing with at the moment. But eventually the channel is going to go the direction of covering every topic there is to cover, because I want to do this as a career. I want to do this full time. I want to go to Aquafest and Reefapalooza and talk to the newbies who are like, they're carrying around a BioCube 14. They're like, I just got my first tank. Yeah. I want to talk to those people, you know? So it's going to be a good time. 72-inch Samsung with the YouTube app. Yeah. Well, sorry for the YouTube. I mean, I know traditionally YouTube is a horizontal, it's a landscape format, but I went live and it was vertical and you can't change it after the fact. And we were already rocking and rolling. Next time, it'll probably be horizontal, I think. I don't know. Are you guys bothered by the vertical aspect of the stream? Let me know. Joff says, I don't know why. I've never thought to ask this before, but do you sell t-shirts? Not yet. This one I had designed. Well, I just stuck this together and got it printed so I would have some branding to wear when I'm doing my videos and stuff. I am designing a shirt right now. It's going to be a Reef Rookies founding members shirt. And it's going to be a limited time shirt. You're only going to be able to get it for a certain amount of time. I don't know how long that's going to be. Whenever I decide that's enough, I'm going to turn it off. But it's going to be very simple to this. It's just going to be black letters, It'll say Reef Rookies. It'll say founding member right under it, just like this. And there'll be some silhouettes of some fish on top. Very simple, very easy. It'll be white on black. And then there'll be, you can get black with white Reef Rookies with the fish and stuff. If you want a black hoodie or something like that, there'll be coffee mugs. There'll be throw pillows, rugs, all of that stuff is going to be available. But it's not available yet. I'm still working on it. But I think in the next couple of weeks, I'm just going to get it knocked out. And as soon as I hit 3,000 watch hours on YouTube, I will be able to connect my spread shop to my YouTube channel, where you guys could literally buy merch directly from my YouTube channel. You won't have to go anywhere else. So all that's in the plan. It's coming. You need to tell all of your fish keeping buddies about me. Tell them to subscribe to the channel. Tell them to go watch all my videos. Go to my videos, hit play all, just let them run all night while you sleep, and get me to the point where I have access to these tools so I can hook you guys up. Because I do have some really cool designs in my head for some like shirts and stuff. And I'm not going to say what they are, because then somebody's going to steal my ideas. Ow, my toe cramped. But yeah, I do have lots of cool ideas for stuff like that. So anyway, it's coming soon for sure. For anyone that hasn't dabbled before, running a skimmer with a recirculating CO2 scrubber is elite for pH. I hardly ever drop below 8.5 now. Additional coral growth has been great. You're absolutely right. If you would be so cool as to take a look in this location here, I actually have one myself, though it is not yet recirculating. It will be. So that's the thing. I agree with you completely. I put that CO2 scrubber right there on my tank, and I'm an idiot. There's still a drip loop in that hose. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm waiting for my 3D printer to get here so that I can take this, and I want to mount this right here on this door. I think I can just get it. But anyway, it just kind of sits right there right now. I don't have a nice place for it to be. But yeah, it needs to be recirculated as well. And I agree with you. Running a recirc scrubber on a skimmer is pH elite status. The only thing other than that you can do to really raise it up is kalkwasser at that point. But yeah, Connie says it's great to find a group that is so helpful and respectful of others. I've learned so much. Thanks a lot. That's very awesome. I am glad that you are learning. It is an amazing thing. I am the only reef keeping community that prioritizes the respect of everyone else in the community as the number one priority. Everybody else is like, let's talk about reef keeping, and oh, by the way, be nice. My community is be nice, and we will talk about reef keeping as well. It's I had to remove somebody from the group this morning because they made a sideways comment. And I'm not having it. You don't get a warning. Your warning is the group rules, and it says that in the group rules. You will not get a warning. So I keep it safe for people. People don't want to get into the hobby, jump into a group or on a YouTube video or in a comment section, and then get absolutely obliterated by the people there. Oh, you should have done your research. Well, what do you think they're doing? They're doing their research, looking for the answers. You have the answers, but you want to be a jerk about it. I can't stand it. I see it every day, and I just don't stand for it. So that's what we're doing. I think one of my shirts is probably going to say Reef Rookies, respectful reef keeping. That's a shirt idea that I was thinking about. Some other ones too that I would have to have designed by a professional graphics person. So yeah, 3D. What? It disconnected me and then reconnected me. I don't know why. Just got it as my new 3D printer with my old one. Instead of selling it, I ended up turning into a machine to recycle water, plastic. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're using the plastic water bottles to create your own filament. That's pretty cool. Mark says, just got a 20-gallon cube. It's a really nice shaped tank, man. I like a 20-gallon cube. It's super cool. It's could go into a corner very easily. It's a nice enough size that you could have, you could have 5-6 fish in it, depending on what they are. A couple clownfish, a couple bang-eye cardinals, maybe a grama. I like a 20 cube. 20 cube is a very nice tank. So yeah, anyway, Reef Keeper, no, I'm not headed to wrap either one of those. The closest one to me would have been, didn't they just do one in Dallas? Didn't they have a wrap Dallas? And then they went from there to Orlando. Dallas would have been probably the closest one to me. I missed all of them this year. I wasn't able to go to any of the shows this year. Next year is going to be a different story. I did go to Aquafest here in Slidell where I'm at, but there really wasn't much to that show, unfortunately. And I've heard that about a lot of other shows this year as well. The shows are just not as good as they were. But yeah, looks great. Love the way you're doing it. Thank you so much. Tap says he'd get a founder shirt. Sweet. So did Jeff. Oh, it's Jeff. Okay. Is that ultra clear glass worth it? Says Mark. Popsicle stand t-shirt. Stop your reefing and check the levels. I like that. And if I happen to use that and you remind me or whatever, I will get you one for free. No, I'll send you one of those shirts if I happen to use that. Designing shirts is actually really hard. You wouldn't think it would be that hard, but it's actually really hard to come up with a good design. But I like that statement. That's funny. So yeah, Mark, let's talk about the ultra clear glass. So that is low iron glass. When they make that glass, they use a concentration of glass that is low on iron. It's called Starfire. Personally, I don't think it's worth it. If I was going to get a cube and it was made with it already and I'm like, it's a good price or whatever, then yeah, I would have it. But if I was, or on the flip side of that, if I was building my forever tank, like my dream tank, then the display panel would probably be Starfire glass. But if I was going to, like this tank, I got this off of a friend of mine. I got the stand, the canopy, the tank, the sump pump, or the return pump, the couple heaters and some other stuff for like $1,800. It doesn't have Starfire glass in it. And I have not for one day missed the fact that it doesn't have Starfire. If you put it's like shopping for a TV. If you're looking on the wall of the TVs, you can see which one has a clearer picture or a brighter picture than the ones next to it. But once you get the thing home, it looks pretty much the same. The Starfire glass, if you're taking pictures of corals, like really high quality professional pictures of corals, then I would say, go with the Starfire glass. But other than that, I wouldn't worry about it. It's an extra expense that really doesn't do a whole lot for you. Travis with Fish of Hex actually makes 3D printed adapters for skimmers to recirculate a CO2 scrubber. Check this out. So I had a buddy of mine. He just got a 3D printer himself. I sent him some measurements and he made me a lid for my ice cap skimmer. Now it was very simple. It doesn't have a port or anything like that on it, but I'm literally just going to drill a hole in the top of it and just stick the hose in it. That's all that's needed. But yeah, it's pretty cool. He wanted to try it out and see what was going on, and I'm gonna hook him up with a coral frag whenever some of my stuff grows out, and Bob's your uncle. But yeah, pretty cool. So pretty interesting. It fits perfectly onto the top of my skimmer. It actually needed about another millimeter of clearance because when I put it on there, when I take it off, the lid comes with it. So it's very tight seal. It's gonna be recirculated for sure. Crown, I don't know what you said there, man, but it retracted your message or you retracted your message. I don't know what happened with that. Dylan says, how do I tell my grandpa that I don't want to wear the flower dress anymore during our visit times? I'm going to ignore that completely and move right along to something else. Crown says, wait, do you live in Texas? Heard you mention, no. Oh, you're in Odessa. Okay. No, Crown, I'm in Louisiana, just a little bit north of New Orleans, Louisiana, yeah. Rimless or not, what is the chances of rimless breaking? I couldn't say, man. It just depends on what kind of a life that aquarium has throughout its time on this planet. You know what I mean? Yeah. Starfire is nice, but it also scratches easier. Oh, does it really? I didn't know that about Starfire glass. I mean, I guess it stands to reason. If there's less iron content in the glass, it's probably a little weaker, maybe. But yeah, I didn't know that it would scratch easier. That's pretty cool. Andres, hello, my friend. How's it going? I've been live for 2 hours and 5 minutes. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit the button, please. Just hit it. We got 19 likes on the channel. All these comments are excellent. These lives are going to stay up as a video on demand after this. So if there was something that I said and you don't remember it or you want to hear it again or whatever, this will be up as a video on demand after everything is all over with. Thank you for those hearts. I appreciate that. Coming real soon, once I hit 3,000 watch hours, YouTube is going to unlock something for me called memberships, which is very similar to subscriptions over on the TT, that other platform where people scroll real fast. So on YouTube, memberships is basically the same thing. You can be like a super supporter and you can actually pay me for making the content that I do. And hopefully some of you will feel that that would be, something that you might want to do. It's never required, but it's always accepted. They will also have what's called super chats. So when we're having the live streams and stuff, you can donate a certain amount of money and ask a question. And, it's a game that we can play back and forth with the super chats and stuff like that. Can we see up close if possible? You talking about the tank? Oh, favorite fish in the tank. Yeah, for sure. You don't have any fish keeping buddies, Mickey? Oh, man, that sucks. Another person with the dresses. Yeah. Don't feed the trolls, people. So let's go take a look at the tank. How many of you here have not seen my wine glass aquarium? I know a lot of you have. Some of you have seen it today, but those of you who have not, I have a 2-foot tall wine glass aquarium. So my favorite fish in the tank currently is that orange dash wrasse right back there. I just got that dude. What are you doing, bro? You are flirting with disaster, homie. Look at this guy just all up in here by the anemone, just chilling. What are you doing? Got a good look at him, but he's currently my favorite. He is my favorite just because he's eating really well and everything's going nicely. I have these are a mated pair of bang-eye cardinal fish, and that's my big jerk 4-striped damsel. All the fish look like they're kind of hungry, and they have cool names too. That's Tupac the Two-Spot, and that is AWOL, the sailfin tang. Nice big fat guy. Got Elmer and Elsie here are the black storm clownfish. The bang-eye cardinals are the yin-yang twins. The spot fox face is Linkfin Park. This is Jacques, of course. You cannot have a cleaner shrimp without naming it Jacques. It's a rule. I had a coral beauty flowing through there. That's Gwen Stefani. This is Mork and Mindy right up here, if you're old enough to remember that. I actually don't have a name for the filament fin wrasse yet. He's just hanging out with no name at this point. And the orange dash wrasse doesn't have a name yet either. But Favia coral. Got some 2 males and 1 female rock flower nem. Some mint chocolate chips and armor of gods. Those are actually candy apple reds up there, but they have been very closed up. They just started opening back up yesterday or day before. Those are Miami Vice Zoas and a Duncan, Forest Fire digitata. That is a green slimer. This is really hard to see. That coral right there is actually growing off the back of the plug instead of growing tips. That's a Setosa. Those are vampires in drag and green pallies. And oops, a chalice. Nice looking chalice. Got a torch here. I think that's all the fish. No, there's one more fish. I don't see him. Nope, there's a blue cleaner wrasse as well. I don't see him, but I have a lawnmower blenny in here too. Those guys are eating a dead hermit crab. That's amazing. Thanks for killing him. I don't know where the lawnmower blenny's at. That's a bunch of other corals. That's 24K Leptoceras right there. Louis, most of the names for my fish are all like musicians' names, musical name in some kind of way. Filament. That's pretty funny. Let's see. What does this say? Tropical fish in aquariums. As cool as wait, as cool as it is to have a live anemone in your tank, I would still do a fake one just so fish who survive the stings are safe. Besides, I don't think a clownfish will know the difference. Well, these idiots right here, they don't care about that thing anyway. They haven't ever messed with it. This is what I was talking about my hammer earlier. It's probably getting a little bit too much flow now, but it's opened up a little more than it was earlier. But as you can see, there's algae growing. Oh yeah, my recordias, those are cool. There's algae growing on the sand, and back around here, there's some cyano growing back here too. And I think maybe it's because my skimmer went haywire. And my A-cans, this A-can has always been closed up ever since I bought it and brought it home. It's never opened up in any situation ever. That one is actually fairly new to the tank, and it was open a lot more earlier. But so it's kind of curious that the A-can here and the hammer here are both a little bit closed up right now. Don't know what's really going on with that. But anyway, so that's my tank. You know, I guess we could look at this side over here too. Got all my hydros stuff is over here. Hang on, let me make this small. It wants to be big. Don't do that. My hydro stuff is over here, and I've got an automatic top-off container. I overflowed that automatic top-off container this morning, so there's been a towel stuck in there. A bunch of junk, as always. And then, you know, sump, CO2 scrubber, filter socks, skimmer. And then on this side is my Refugium, my return pump. Oh, by the way, guys, see that right there? Take a screenshot of that real quick. Screenshot that. I'll hold it right here. That QR code will take you to the Don't Coral Me Crazy website. He's getting it rebuilt right now. And you can find him on that other platform that we were talking about. That's TT, that one. You can find him there. If you purchase coral from his website and spend more than $100, it gets you into a July the 4th 4x4 raffle. He's going to be giving away 4 coral packs that have 4 corals in each pack. All the information is on his TT channel. It's on the pinned video there. And if you go to his TT channel on that pinned video and you type in the comments that you are there from Reef Rookies, you get an additional entry. So that's very cool stuff. His name over there is at Don't Coral Me Crazy and the number 1 at the end. Oh, there's the other fish. Oh, he zoomed off. There he is. Little possum wrasse back there. So yeah, let's go take a look at the wine glass tank. Oh, my wife is on her way home, so I'm going to be getting off stream after we take a look at the wine glass tank. Oh, the light went out. Well, you'll just have to watch back for some more stuff. Quick question. In the wine glass, why did you put the black plastic levels? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Oh, you're talking about this here? How this is separated like this? So this is called a plenum, right? And this area of the tank right down here never gets any oxygenated water. So in theory, the bacteria that are going to grow down here will convert nitrates into nitrogen gas, effectively removing it from the aquarium. The sand is done in this way so that this is finer sand up here and then more coarse here and then more coarse down here. So everything from about here down should be anaerobic zone, and even really from about here down. But I do have a bumblebee snail, so he kind of stirs up the top layer of the wine glass tank a little bit. Tap, yeah, that's true. Don't Coral Me Crazy did launch a new website update this morning. So at any rate, that's why that's like that. You can still see there's still some diatoms and stuff, a little bit of the ugly phase right here around this rim. But everything's looking super cool. The rock is still remaining dark, so it's staying live. I want to turn it back on just for those of y'all who... There we go. So it's live. It's got a little cyano on it right there, but I'm not worried about that. You know, this is an experiment in, can I get a tank to run completely biologically filtered with no equipment. It's been done once. There's my little arrow crab that I have in there. He's supposed to be eating the bristleworms, but as you can see, there are still some bristleworms. Got an Astorina starfish. I actually have a big one, like a 1 inch big. They're actually not Astorina at all. They're Aquila nostra. But yeah. Niall, no worries, man. Thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream. There he is. And so yeah, big 1 inch Aquila nostra starfish. If you look just to the left of the starfish, right there, right at the sand bed, there's a little round thing. That is a colonista snail. There's a couple of other ones right up here on the top of the rock. See that little dude right there on the top of the rock? I know it's blurry, but this thing is right. There we go. It's in focus right now. Pretty cool. All right, Tap. See you later, bud. But anyway, the point of this is for me to get this tank set up. It's going to have pulsing xenia all up here that is going to generate the water flow. There's no heater on this tank. There's not going to be any equipment on it other than that light. And there's going to be a flaming prawn goby that lives in it. I got to turn this. I'll have to turn it back on tomorrow. There's going to be a flaming prawn goby that lives in it. Oh, you want to see the beta tank, by the way, since we're over here? It needs to be cleaned, but there's my beta boy. What you doing, big guy? Probably hungry. Yeah, this tank, I've been catching heck with this tank with nutrients. But anyway, what are you doing, bro? Jeez. So anyway, let me pop back around over here. Let me get back to the front screen. Yeah, the goal with the wine glass tank is to eventually be able to remove that little bitty hang on the back filter. It's going to have, yeah, doggo was getting after it. Goby fish in it. It's going to have a couple of sexy shrimp in it, probably 3 sexy shrimps. And it's going to have a pom-pom crab, all these little micro saltwater animals. I want it to be a full mixed reef. I'm going to put some very slow growing zoas down at the bottom of the rocks and stuff like that. Mostly the pulsing xenia is going to be up top. That's going to create the water flow, and hopefully the weekly water changes will break the surface of the water enough to create enough gas exchange to keep things happy. But we're going to see. It's only been done one other time, and the guy who did it was a reef scientist. His name is Gene Jalbert. If you want to look it up, you can YouTube Gene Jalbert Reef Bowl, and you can see exactly what I'm doing. There's a little video of it there. But it's going to be a long-term process. It's already been set up about 3 or 4 months at this point. I've got about 100 videos of it at this point on my computer. And when it's all done, I'm going to make one big video, like a whole start to finish, kind of video. Like I spent the last year creating this, wine glass saltwater aquarium ecosystem. It's going to be an amazing video. It's going to get 1 million views and make me $20,000. Probably not. But anyway, that's what we're going for. Anyhow, wait a minute. Muffin said, clean, ? It needs to be bigger. What are you talking about? What needs to be bigger? The wine glass tank? Well, the point of it is to do a pico tank, a little tiny tank. That's the whole reason for doing it, is just because it's small. Phew. But yes, anyway. All right, guys. Well, the beta fish. It's a 5 gallon. It's 5 gallons is fine for a beta. I would like to see him in something like a 20 long, but the fancy fin betas, he has a real hard time swimming because he's got big fins. So 5 gallons is sufficient, but it definitely does need to be cleaned. The plants, for some reason, decided they didn't like the environment anymore, and they started dying, which started making the nutrients in that tank go up. And in freshwater tanks, you do not want nitrates. Those are very bad. Nitrites are extremely toxic as well. So you don't want any of that. But anyway, that's a topic for another day. I'm going to cook dinner. Thank you all for joining me. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. If you want to find me on the other platforms, I'm on the TT, the FB, and the DG by the same name, Reef Rookies with Logan. And I'm going to see you guys some other time. Popsicle Stand, I'm going to try to go live once a week over here on YT and once a week over on the TT. It's not set in stone because I don't have a schedule, unfortunately. But subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on. You'll get them when I go live. So anyway, thank you so much for joining, everybody. This is me. I'm out of here. Whew, I'm tired. I talked a bunch.